Hello, my name is Beth McDonald Stone, and I'm an avid knitter and knitwear designer coming to you from Bermuda. This is going to be a short one. It's a really busy week. So much is happening. It's Monday of the Easter week. So it's a short week for us here. We have a Good Friday celebrations and a long weekend. Additionally, my son is just finishing high school, so he's out of school as of tomorrow and will then be going on to study for his big exams. But yeah, so it's sort of a busy time and lots going on. And also I have so many things to show you knitting wise, but so many things are just in that middling section of just the torso, the body area, that I'd almost rather wait until the next time that we get together in 2 weeks to talk more about it when I've actually got more to show you, because it's kind of that funny, like, it looks good. What does it look like? You know, there's no sleeves, there's no shape on a couple projects. And I just know that given a couple more weeks and I'll be right there for you. It's also a funny one because this sweater that I want to show you today, which is the featured sweater, all the design is in the torso. So if only you could see my funny little perch here. I'm perched on this little tiny stool, kind of leaning against the drawers here to show you this. So so if it looks, hopefully I don't look too awkward, or if I end up falling over, I don't think I will. But anyways, it's a bit comical here, trying to get it all on the screen, because this is the important part. So the featured pattern this week is my Tulip Tunic, and I really wanted it out for Easter. To me, this just screams spring, and I'm so pleased with it. And again, like like all of the designs, the work that the test knitters have done is amazing. And I think we would give the Netherlands Keukenhof, the big display of tulips, a run for their money in all of our colors and everything like that. So it's really beautiful. Do take a look at some of the ones that the test knitters have knit, because they're spectacular, each and every one. So the design of this, I was inspired by sort of Marimekko graphics. Marimekko, I'm sure you all know, is a wonderful Finnish design company that's been around for decades and decades. I think Jackie Onassis was famous for wearing Marimekko prints in the 60s and 70s, and I've just loved them you know, for years and years and years. What I love about them is the graphic nature and how cheerful they are. They're just joy. They just look like joy to me. So I wanted to design, I love tulips. Tulips have always held a really, you know, I love the graphic of tulip. I love how tulips have been portrayed through the ages, and I just think it's fun also this way in a knitted piece. It was really important for me that the tulips be bold, but not to be basically to have the lines very crisp, and so not to have some floats or whatnot showing through on the face of the fabric. I think the crispness of the motif and the, you know, of this tulip shape is what's really important. So there are some long floats, and in the pattern I've given you suggestions on where to catch your floats. So for the traditional stranded knitting down here for the leaves and the stems. And then just for this section here of the actual tulip flower itself, I've suggested where to place it, but ladder back jacquard, and given you a great link to a really good video tutorial on YouTube. Sorry, I couldn't think of what the word was. It's actually, ladder back jacquard is so much more simpler than you think. I went around and around and around a couple of years ago trying to make heads or tails of it and trying to figure it out. And then I found just this one really bare bones explanation, and it just clicked. And I'm hoping that's what happens for you, because once you have that ladder back jacquard technique in your pocket, it just opens up so many opportunities, you know, for sort of anything that might have a graphic that have long floats and you're a bit turned off by having to catch them and then having them show through. The ladder back jacquard is so simple, and it will allow for this sort of crispness, and I find I use it in so many things. I'm sure those who come back and listen to me talk about knitting are so sick of me talking about it and raving about this technique, but honestly, it's just fantastic and open up so many opportunities for me and gets me more and more excited about color work and complex color work. So anyways, I hope it does that for you. So this again, this is the Tulip Tunic. It's called a tunic. I can stand up here without totally breaking everything down. So it's, you know, it's a longer length. It's going down to cover most of my derriere. It's a bottom up drop sleeve construction. Don't be dissuaded by bottom up. Bottom up has got a lot of things on offer, especially, you know, with a motif. There's no knitting the motif flat. It's all in the round, and then you separate the front and the back for the sleeve. So that's not a problem at all, you know, if you're worried about knitting color work flat. The shoulder seams have a quadruple decrease on them so that it's actually gently shaped here on the shoulders. And then it seamlessly goes into this turtleneck, which you could either fold in like so, or I really liked it out, and I used some really fun mohair and I doubled it for this area. So it sort of has a lovely little warm tickle on my chin. So for the yarns, I need to refer to my notes because I'm so bad, as you know, at remembering yarns and names and stuff like that. So the mohair was amazing, and it was just this really sharp yellow that I was looking for. That's from Fiber MacGyver. Oh, and it's not mohair, it's Suri Silk. Sorry about that. Fiber MacGyver Suri Silk color lemon. And I love that. And I've held it double in here with Primrose Yarn Company, and it's called Homestead Sport. And it's very gently sort of shifts color, so that while it's graphic and everything like that, there's a little bit of undulating tones of yellow in the tulips. And then the main color, or the background color here, is also Primrose Yarn Company Replay Worsted. And this is a really interesting yarn. So again, called Replay Worsted, and I believe it's a recycled wool. And it's got a really lovely dry hand, and it's not too hot. So it's actually really a good mix of yarns for this time of year when we're into transitions and stuff like that. Yeah, and then I just did straight sleeves, and you may be wondering, what is that yellow stripe on it? And the one on the cuff here. I was really playing yarn chicken, and I really wanted a certain length of sleeve. And so I added those things and then finished the sweater. I had gone up and down on it. I think it's kind of fun. I really kind of like it. I like things that are a bit asymmetrical and a bit kind of have unusual character, kind of that sort of head scratcher, like, is that a weird stripe on her arm? Why, yes, it is. Anyways, so I did that, and then I went to my desk and really looked at my desk, and on my desk was a swatch and more of this. So totally unnecessary. But anyways, I didn't want to take them out because I actually kind of think they're groovy. I think it's fun, the sort of shock at the cuff and one further up. Anyways, I love it. I love this sweater. It's very spring, very, very fun, very joyful. And that's what I was looking for this time of year. What else can I tell you about it? Oh yeah, so as per usual, all my featured patterns will be discounted 20% for the first week. And so that is discounted now, no coupon required until Friday, April 25th, midnight Atlantic Standard Time. Yeah, which is Good Friday. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. Boy, this is gonna be a really short one, and I apologize. The other thing I wanted to talk about as I'm perched on this little sill is just really quickly Halloween. It's not Halloween, it's Easter. Easter in Bermuda. It's kind of a really special time to be in Bermuda. Weather-wise, it can be chilly and rainy, or it can be absolutely glorious. Now this Easter is a bit late in the year, so it's probably going to be, as long as it's not raining, and it bucketed all last weekend, so I can't imagine there's any drop in the sky left. But if it's not raining, it's spectacular. And usually it's the time of year where everyone gets their first little bit of a sunburn. I know dermatologists don't like that. The sun feels so good on the skin, doesn't it? And the reason why everyone's out and about is because on Good Friday, the tradition of Bermuda is to fly kites. And so we make kites, well, traditionally, we used to in our household, it's really frustrating. It's you use little dowels and tissue paper and the Elmer's glue, and you piece the tissue paper onto these dowels in this sort of round shape, and inevitably, your fingers get covered with the glue. Then you touch the tissue paper starts to dissolve, and then everything's all sticking and everywhere, and it's really frustrating. But there are people that are really good at it, and I knew one guy who was really, really good at making kites, and he used to make kites, and it was sold in Hamilton, our city, at the pharmacy, and it was always trying to get Robert's kites. They were always displayed there. Kites are also made, and then the week after Easter, there's called the agricultural show, the Ag Show, and so one hall will be filled with kids' kites, and they're it's a competition, so it's really fun to go check out the kites and everything like that. And I would suggest that I would predict that any of the kites that make it to the Ag Show were kites that were not flown on Good Friday, because basically they get killed. Um, whether they come crashing down or get tangled in another kite or whatever. But they're pretty fragile. They're pretty wonderful. I was looking for photos to show you some, and of course, basically all of my own personal photos are of my friends and family standing there with like the kite, but the kite's not in the picture because they're just standing there, so it like means nothing to you. I did find a really old photo, and this would have been dated into the 1930s when my grandfather was dating my grandmother, and he made a really spectacular, massive kite. So I'll insert that photo too here, and that's really fun. But I might also have inserted some sort of more generic pictures of the kite flying, just because the ones that I took, you're not going to want to see. We used to always go to house parties. A lot of people go to the beach to fly kites because, of course, beaches are great. There's no wires ahead above and everything like that. People usually, when we go to house parties, the tradition is to launch them off the roof of the house. That's really fun. I have this amazing photo, and I don't know where it is, of a friend of mine. And anyways, he was launching, and it's such a good action shot off of his parents' roof, like when we were teenagers, or in their early 20s. Anyways, I don't know where that photo is, and I'm sure it's not even digital. I'm sure it's in some negative sleeve somewhere. But anyways, I wish I could show you that, because that's actually really fun, because he's wearing his Bermuda shorts, up on the roof, the white roof, and throwing off the kite, launching the kite that he had made. Yeah, so kites are pretty, lovely. Now, we don't really make them or anything, but we love to hear them. You can hear them, the whizzing of a kite and the kite tail. So that's fun. So like on Good Friday, you'll hear a sort of high pitched like, and it's all the kites in the sky and everything like that. That's really, really fun. So that's Good Friday. And then, Easter Sunday is probably very much like anyone else with Easter. We do make codfish cakes. I am not a fan. I'm very lucky that my sister-in-law loves them and likes to make them. So she makes them for my husband and son, and I don't have to do any of it. And they're not going to, even though she's taught them a million times. I think my husband and my son are pretty happy for their aunt, or my husband's sister, Ashley, to make them for him. So that's kind of fun. It's a long process. It's codfish, potatoes. I find them really dry. I find it really fishy smelling. I do like fish, don't like them. Anyway, so that's fun on Easter Sunday, egg hunts and all that. So pretty much similar to everywhere else. The other thing that used to happen on Easter Sunday in Bermuda, which doesn't anymore, and it's a bit of a shame, there used to be a parade down Front Street, and it was these were amazing floats that would be completely covered in flowers, and really spectacular, and people would work on those for a really long time. So that is no longer, unfortunately, a tradition. But I did find, when I was trying to find a picture of my two grandparents standing in front of this massive kite when they were dating, I only found my grandfather with the kite. But I also found, when looking at that, a picture of my grandfather walking beside a big floral float for Rotary. And so you can see it's totally covered in flowers. And then it's my uncle when he was a young boy at the front of the float, I don't know, cheering everyone on or waving to people as they pass by for Rotary. So that's kind of cool too. But unfortunately, that tradition doesn't exist anymore. But everything changes, doesn't it? So yeah, so it's a really short one. Oh my gosh, I'm barely even getting to 15 minutes. I'm usually a bit more chatty, but yeah, like I said, it's a fun week. It's a busy week. I hope you have fun. I hope you can fly a kite. Um, my parents used to make me fly kites when we were in Toronto, and Easter in Toronto is not always warm, and we'd go down to the lakeshore to mimic a beach, and it was brutal. And yeah, that wasn't so much fun. So if it's cold where you are, just imagine a kite flying. Don't get cold. It's not fun. But yeah, so if you're celebrating Easter or Passover or anything, or just a good weekend, I hope you have a great weekend. And I hope you have lots of knitting. And I'll be back in 2 weeks with a much more in-depth episode with a lot of knits. I have cast on so many things. Cast on another thing yesterday, or taught that I shouldn't have yesterday because I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, but it's okay. It's so much fun. It's a great time of year. Spring's here, inspiration, color, flowers, warm season. It's all coming. So enjoy, happy knitting, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. All right, bye-bye. Oh, and I'm gonna leave you with the jolly laughter. We went to dinner to celebrate just the end of school for my son. And the restaurant was right beside the beach. So I stepped away from the table and filmed the beach and the waves and everything like that. But I'm hoping that what you'll see next is that video and hopefully the sound of the people and the laughter behind me and the waves in the night and anything like that. Hopefully all that will be together and really fun. If not, there'll be music over it. But anyways, I'll leave you with a picture or video, I should say, of Coral Beach at night, at dusk. And yeah, have a great weekend. See you in 2 weeks. Bye.